Hello everyone and welcome to our live Visual Authority, How Style Shapes First Impressions. We are all communicating something through how we present ourselves, often before we've even spoke. The question is, what are you saying? How you present yourself does communicate something. The question is whether it reflects who you are. Over the next 25 minutes, myself and Lucy, probably mainly Lucy, will be discussing this, and we're going to be covering what is your style communicating before you even speak? How do you create a look that feels aligned with who you are? What small changes can help create a confident presence? And how can style become a tool for self-expression rather than pressure or performance? So whether you're building confidence or refining how you present yourself, this session will help you understand how to use style more intentionally and how it shapes the way others experience you from the very first few seconds. Before we start talking about that though, and in case this is the first time we are meeting, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Maria Newman, and I help my clients who are fed up with the way life is and frustrated because they don't know how to change that, to get clear on what they actually want and take decisive action to start creating a life that feels right for them. Some people come to me because they don't quite know what's wrong, and they're waking up in the morning thinking, is this it? Or they're living with that stuck and unsure feeling. Others reach out because they do have specific challenges, like a lack of confidence, navigating difficult situations, having to have an awkward conversation. And my role is to help them gain clarity, build confidence, and move forward in a way that feels right for them. And this is Lucy.
Hello everyone, I'm Lucy, and I help my clients to explore and discover how they align what they're wearing with who they are, their life, and how they want to use this part of their life, and having more intention and honesty in dressing, because it's more than clothes. It's communication, confidence, self-expression. And I help people through styling and my 5-phase approach to create a collection of clothes that expresses who they are and gives them confidence, and they have what works.
And that is us. So, Lucy, to kick this off, and if you're joining us live, please go ahead and introduce yourself so that we can see who's here with us. Before we dive into those questions I said earlier, I want to ask you, first of all, why do you think not everybody thinks how they dress is important?
I think there's lots of things that we have to deal with, aren't there? There's lots of pieces of the puzzle to who we are. And I think this part is something that doesn't always get thought about, and we're not taught as we're growing up how to use this part of our life, perhaps. And so I think it becomes something that we have to, but maybe we don't quite know how we should do it. So it just becomes this kind of, I don't know, this random thing that we create, and we think, oh, this part of our life isn't working. I know what I do is I'll go shopping. So people shop, but maybe there's no intention or focus to the shopping, and therefore you end up with this random, not everyone, but this kind of accumulation of stuff that some works, some doesn't work, but we don't quite know why. So there's not the intention or the focus on it that I think perhaps we put into other parts of our life, and not the learning as we grow. If you're lucky, you did learn as you've grown up from your mum or someone in your life, but it's not something that most of us are taught, is it? And how to budget and, all of that kind of thing. It's not something that we grow up learning, I don't think.
No, and I think you're completely right. I think unless we're told otherwise, the majority of us see clothes as the stuff that covers our bodies.
Yeah.
And it's when we look at models, celebrities, and we see the way they dress, where obviously they're making a statement. And I remember sort of when we did our pre-talk to this, and I was saying to you, well, when I first went into business, I would literally open my wardrobe and go, okay, then, so which top am I wearing with which pair of jeans? And that was my thought process. All right, if I'm going out on an evening, I'm thinking more deeply about what I'm wearing. On a day-to-day basis, though, it was simply jeans and a jumper.
Yeah. And really the starting point is, I guess, how do I feel? How do I feel today? What am I doing? What's the weather? How am I getting around? But if you open the cupboards and everything in there works, and you're just choosing from that collection, whereas a lot of it maybe isn't working or you don't like it, and then it becomes this kind of, well, I know that outfit works, so just keep wearing it over and over again. And I think here as well, particularly in the UK, we put children in a school uniform, don't we, from age 4 to probably age 16 to 18, and they're told what to wear, whether they like it or not. But even if you go into a school, because I go into schools sometimes, and you go in and people will have personalized that uniform somehow with their hair or accessories, or how they're wearing the uniform. So I think it is this innate thing that we want to personalize, but maybe we don't know how to do it, or we don't know how to use the tools to do it, if that makes sense. So we just start with shopping, whereas for me that's the last bit, and I start much earlier than that.
Yeah. And I think it takes practice as well, doesn't it? It's not, I think there are very few people who can automatically look at their rail of clothing and go, well, it's all right, well, that goes with that, and I can just put this accessory and it'll just make a complete outfit. I think the majority of us just go, oh, top and a bottom, that's what I need, and all's done.
And I met a lady once who was telling me that before she didn't work with me personally, but before she worked with a stylist, she used to go into a shop and look at a mannequin and say, I'd like everything on the mannequin. Because she didn't, and she just thought, well, the person who put the mannequin together must know what they're doing. And so she would buy that, but there's no connection between her and the items on that mannequin, if you see what I mean. So my job really is to connect people with this part of their life, not tell people what to wear, but walk alongside them as they explore and they discover for themselves what they want to do with this part of their life that you have to do every day. That's the thing, isn't it? It's not something we can do now and again. You say, like, you might go out for a special occasion now and again, but you're still doing it every single day. So if I can help people to, every item that they've got, it has been put in there for a reason and they love it and it works for them physically, then that's my aim. that's my aim. That's what I'm working for.
Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
What is your style communicating before you even speak?
Well, I think we're very visual, aren't we? And we look at, and we're bombarded with so many visual things, either on TV or, in our, we're just visual all the time. And I think we are making decisions, and whether they're conscious and whether we can articulate them or not, but we're making decisions about what we're seeing, whether that's right or wrong, but we are deciding. And if we're looking at people, do I like them? Can I trust them? Is what they're saying in line with how, like, the messages they're giving me visually, and then they start to speak? Are those things in alignment? But often the decisions are made before the person even speaks. The power of the visual. You're talking about celebrities, or when we're looking at the news, or anything that when we're at networking, anything, we see the visual, and we've probably decided things before we've even heard them speak. And we can't always say, I've decided that. It's not always a conscious thing, isn't it? Or you might say to them, what do you think about so and so? And all you can base it on is what they're wearing and how they're presenting themselves physically. And we don't know whether we're right or wrong, but that is just the nature of, that is the reality of, isn't it? We are doing it and making judgments all of the time.
Well, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not, we will have a first impression of someone. And exactly like you said, the first time a person comes into your world will be visually. You will see them, and therefore you will create what you think of them based on what you see. Yeah. And it's funny, isn't it, that some people are like, well, I don't really care what people think of me and what I look like. And it's just like, and that in itself, you are communicating something.
Yeah.
And that's why, especially being in business, what we look like, how we dress, how we present ourselves is really important. I mean, if you somebody told me a story of meeting a builder for the first time, and they arrived and had what looked like half the building site all over them. And the impression that he got from that individual was, well, if they're covered in it, are they actually going to do a good job? Because it looks like they're wearing more of it than maybe what's on the building site. So it is just stopping for a minute and thinking, what response, let's look at it this way, what response would you like to get from other people? Because the way you present yourself is going to initiate that response.
Yeah, and I think that's right. And I think, you know, when you're in alignment, so if you think of it, yes, you can think of it as people looking at you and making a judgment, but you could also turn it around, couldn't you, and say, like, how do I want to present myself, but not as a performance, but as an alignment. I think that's the difference, because we can put something on. So, you know, I used to work in a theatre, and the actors come in and they go through the dressing rooms, and then they're on stage in character, dressed in the character of the person they're going to be playing. And it's like the clothes are one of the things that helps them put their mind into the mindset of being that character. Not the only thing, but one of the things. And if we turn it around to, you know, like when I go somewhere networking or anywhere you're going, is what I'm wearing making me feel comfortable, confident, and able to be myself? Or is it distracting? Do I not feel like myself? Is it not comfortable? And so we can't control what people think of us. When we can't control that, can we? But I think we've got more control of, is this me? Is this how I want to look and feel in this situation that I'm in? And go from there. And then the impression will follow. Of, you know, so rather than trying to perform the impression, you're in alignment and you're just being that impression. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. And as you're listening and watching with us, if you've got any comments, any questions, if you agree with what we're saying, if you've got a different point of view, please put your comments, questions in the comment box. And because this is an interactive session, it's not just me and Lucy having a chat between us. We want to add value to everybody who's watching today. I know that when I dress, I will either dress according to how I feel in that moment, or I will dress according to how I want to feel.
Yeah.
Depending on which one has a stronger feeling at the time. So there might be times where I've opened my wardrobe and I've thought, I just want to feel comfortable today. And I've put on something that's comfortable. And then I thought, oh, this isn't helpful. It's actually bringing me down rather than lifting me up. And I've changed and I've put something on that's colourful, even if it's just like a colourful scarf. And it's changed my mood with just something really simple.
But that's really interesting, Maria, because you used the word feel, not the word look. You know, how do I want to feel? Rather than how do I want to look? And I think if we start with how do I want to feel, and then because what I find is a lot of people I work with, they don't have the resources to pull on to create what they want to create in their wardrobe. And that is part of the issue, because when I go to work, or I was talking to someone the other day who had to travel for her work, and she said, I just didn't know what to wear for the thing I was going to. And that can be the thing that trips you up, can't it? Or just sets you in a bit of a panic. So this kind of being prepared, looking ahead. So for me, like being intentional, and that doesn't mean not taking into account the feeling. It completely does that. But looking ahead and being intentional to, like, you know, today I was going to speak to you, you know, on this session. So what do I want to wear to do this? And then it could be, but you could be looking ahead. And I think a lot of people, they're not looking ahead and being prepared for what's coming. And then they're becoming a bit of a panic, or they're going, oh God, I've got to buy something new, but they don't really know what that is. So there's this panic feeling, oh, I'll just wear that thing again. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then they get, you know, there's this whole spiral can happen because there's no planning and preparation. And So when I go to a work event like that, how do I want to feel? What will I need? How am I getting around? Am I going to be standing all day? Because if you're standing all day, you don't want shoes that you can only wear for 2 hours. And you never want shoes that you can only wear for 2 hours. But you know what I mean? That kind of, I'm going to be standing all day. I've got to be wearing these shoes all day. You need a pair of shoes that are comfortable to wear all day, because that's the biggest distraction. I was talking to someone the other day, and she said when she was teaching, she had these really uncomfortable shoes, and she went to this shop after work that was more expensive than she would normally go to and bought these shoes. Said that was the best investment she ever made, because the fact that her shoes hurt and she was a teacher was just completely ruining her day.
Do you know what what that reminds me of? Like the preparation part is the same as, I'm going to give you a different example. For our meals during the week, I plan the meals at the beginning of the week, and then I go and do my shopping. So looking at what we're doing during the week, do I need to make something that's quick and easy? Have I got more time? Can I make something that takes longer? Does it have to be more like a snack? Can it be a full-on meal? And that way, that decision and everything is done within like a half an hour slot on a Thursday evening. And it's all to do with, and I think this is the right terminology, reducing the decision friction.
Yes.
So rather than, like you said, looking at your wardrobe and going, I've got this do to go to, I have all these clothes, I'm feeling overwhelmed, and so all I've decided is there's nothing here. You're taking that overwhelm away by going, all right then, let me be a bit proactive and let me see what the week ahead of me looks like and the types of things that I could wear during the week.
Yeah. And it could be that you change your mind. So I was doing an event a couple of weeks ago, and I decided the night before what I was going to wear. And then when I got up in the morning, I didn't feel like wearing that. I wanted to wear something else. So I chose something else. But I know I don't have anything in my wardrobe that doesn't fit or isn't a good color or isn't a good style. So the selection I've got to choose from allows me the freedom to make those last minute decisions if I choose. But when you don't have that, it's a bit like, you decided on Thursday night you can have spaghetti bolognese, and then you go to the fridge, there's no mince, there's no spaghetti, there's no onions. Suddenly it's like, oh God, I can't. And some people like that feeling of I'm just going to create from what I've got. And for other people, it's stressful, or sometimes you feel okay, but you know what I mean? But when you've got that selection to draw from, you're right, the decision making, even if you change your mind, the decision making is easier, because I can put anything from there on. I can choose anything. But the preparation and planning, I think, is important, and that's what I'm trying to help people be more intentional.
So how does a person go about doing that so that they're happy that the clothes that are in their wardrobe, they can just know that if I'm going to make a spaghetti bolognese, I'm going to open the fridge and there's a spaghetti bolognese ingredients are going to be there available. How do they do that as far as their wardrobe is concerned?
So I think every item needs 4 things. It needs to be a flattering colour, and it needs to be a flattering style for your body. That's what I call the styling tools. Those are the tools of styling, the colours and the shapes, the fabrics, the prints, all of that stuff. But if your wardrobe is based around those 2 things, you'll have a great collection of clothes, but there's 2 things you've not considered. What is your life like? So if you don't have your life in your wardrobe, so for instance, you might be making a spaghetti bolognese. I don't eat meat. So, right. So if I've got mince in my fridge, but I don't eat mince, I can make a great spaghetti bolognese, but it's not one that works for me because I don't eat it.
Hungry.
So you have to have your life. Like, I live in Cambridge. I ride my bike a lot. That is part of my lifestyle. The climate, the things that you're doing. If you have a family, what age are your kids? All of these things have to also be in alignment with your wardrobe. And the final bit is, who are you? What is your personal preference? What is your, what do you like? What is your style? And so how do you take the styling tools and make them work for you, is having them in your life and knowing that I like that over that. I like, these are the things that I like, and this is the kind of styles that I like to put together. So if everything in your wardrobe has those 4 things, then you will have it.
So remind us again what those 4 things again.
Flattering colours.
Yeah.
Flattering styles, your life,
Yeah.
and your personal preferences. And that's what I help people explore. So I can't tell people what their style is, because that's them, but I help them explore it and become curious. I think exploring and being curious are, you know, what do you like? What do you admire in other people? What kind of art do you like? What kind of nature? It's our personal preferences are in our home. You know, how do you decorate your home? So we take it much wider than clothes, and that's how I help people to explore their personal style. So we can do the, you know, the tools are one part, but the lifestyle and the personal style are the other bit. So if one or more of those is missing, you won't wear the item or you won't enjoy it. And you know for yourself, when you've had lifestyle shifts, you know, something's shifted and then something's changed, and then suddenly, well, that doesn't work anymore. So I didn't own white jeans for 22 years because I had a child, and then had another child, then had another child. And when they became adults, I bought another pair of white jeans, but I didn't own white jeans for 22 years because they weren't going to work in my lifestyle. You know, things like that. Things shift, life shifts. And if we don't adjust this with it, then we're not really expressing who we are anymore, if that makes sense.
So for those of you who are watching, and for those of you who would be watching on replay, I invite you to go and look in your wardrobe and see if the clothes that are in your wardrobe tick those boxes.
Yeah.
Obviously, before you open your wardrobe, make sure you know what those 4 things actually mean to you, because there's no point in opening the wardrobe and going, are these going to be flattering, when you don't actually know what flattering looks like for you.
Yeah. And then that's learning the skills, isn't it? That, like, how do you know that colour is flattering? Do you know that style works on your body? That's what I help people with, because sometimes we don't see ourselves how we really are, do we? Or things change, like, you know, bodies change through time, whether that's through, you know, the phases of life or surgery or illness. You know, things change, don't they? And I think it's when you know what works and you can make the adjustments necessary to keep up. Because I think a lot of people I work with, like, they're really busy, they've got really busy, but this part of their life hasn't kept up with who they are. And now they don't know, you know, what to, it's not expressing who they are, but they don't know where to start. But where they start is they go shopping. Like, that's where they start, but really, what are you shopping for? How do you know whether that works or not? You know, so it's taking a few steps back and learning, exploring, and being curious. And if you love something, why do you love it? And if you don't love something, why don't you love it? That's what I help people with. You know, you really love this piece, you wear it all the time. Why? You know, what is it about it? And like, I never wear it. Why don't you wear it? It's a good color, it's a good style, but you never wear it. It's not you. Yeah, it's not connected with you. So the item might be, and that's why a lot of people, I think, keep things. So there's nothing wrong with it, other than it's not connected to you, if you know what I mean. You know,
we've just had a comment, bless, from Ildiko. My wardrobe doesn't tick these 4 boxes.
Oh, so, does it tick some?
You've got other things to be focused on right at this moment. Yeah. I think comfort is the way forward. Yeah. And Robin has put, I love that, Lucy, your way of approaching your work really gives the tools to take away and tailor your wardrobe at each stage of your life. And I think that's so true, because for me, looking in my wardrobe and thinking about how life is, I know that I need clothes for the gym.
Yeah.
So I need clothes that I can just literally chuck on and go and exercise. I know I need clothes for, you know, at the end of the day when you just want to be lounging around and comfortable. Yeah. I know I need clothes for when I'm seeing clients or I'm hosting that are a little bit more smarter.
Yes.
And I know I need clothes for when it's a work day, but I'm not going to be seeing anybody. Yeah. So I can just be like, I can be just super casual.
Yeah.
And yet I still want to feel in a way that supports the fact that I'm working and I'm not, you know, maybe going and being.
And I think what some people do is they know exactly what they want to wear for this part of their life, whatever that might be, their work or whatever. but then other parts, they're not quite sure. So if we can have you through the thread of all of it, whether you're sitting watching TV, going to the gym, giving a talk, you know, going out for an evening, whatever it is, if we can have you in the thread of all of it, then you can choose anything and still feel good. And our environment is changing as well, isn't it? So just a quick example, I graduated from university in 1989, and one of my friends went to work for a big corporate company in London, probably like 1990, and one day she wore trousers for work and she got called into HR. But can you imagine now? She got called into HR for wearing trousers, smart trousers. But now we wear trainers with dresses, and you know, so we're evolving, but our environment is also evolving. And if you like, so you, Maria, went from a corporate world to having your own business. That is an evolution in your work life, isn't it? So you want and need different things, but you still want to feel like yourself through it. So that's my job, really, to help people explore and be curious and provide the tools that they can then use to, you know, get this part of their life working, really.
Do you know what? I was watching an interview with Malala. What was she on? I can't even remember what television program it was on. I want to say it was Graham Norton. And she obviously came over to the UK, and rather than wearing traditional dress all the time, she wanted to wear modern clothes.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm like looking at people who can I use as a role model, as someone that might have a style that I think I would like to have. And Selena Gomez was the person that she chose to help her create her own look. So where I'm going with this is, I think as individuals, we need to decide, okay, then who do we want to be? I don't mean who do you want to be like, who do we want to be? Yeah. And from that point of view, go, okay, then, so if I was that person right now, and looking at how my life is, what clothes would I wear that would represent that person, that would help me to express who that person is?
That's very much coming from the inside out, which is how I work. You know, who is the person first, and how do we put the outside on the person, but in an aligned, you know, personal way, rather than let's dress the outside without knowing who the inside is. Does that make sense? Like, because it has to be who you are. And so you might try and emulate someone, but if you copy, you won't ever feel like yourself, because you're not them. And, so that's what do you admire about them? There might be different words that you admire. So people will say things like, I really admire people who look put together. Okay, what does that mean for you? Give me a visual image of what that means to you, because that can mean different things to different people. Like, you might think of someone who looks put together, and I'll think of someone and they're completely different, you know, like completely different. So trying to connect the person to what they're seeing and what they want is really what I'm trying to do.
That goes back to what you were saying about being aligned, because if you are dressing from the inside out, then you will feel comfortable, you will feel confident, because who you are on the inside is now being expressed on the outside, as opposed to, well, on the inside, I feel a bit shy and unsure. And then on the outside, you're like vibrating this confident person. There's a mismatch there, isn't there?
Yeah. I mean, I remember a client coming to me once, and she was immaculately dressed, very casually dressed. She had like white button down shirt, black trousers, really like nice jewelry. She looked, you know, so well put together. And as we were talking, she says, I've been doing this for a long time, but inside I'm this colourful bohemian artist. And I don't know how to express that, because I've been doing this classic look for such a long time. And she looked amazing. And I'm sure for some of her life that, but she was at a point in life, well, I want to express something different and I don't know how to do it. Can you help me do it? And that's one of the things we looked at, the colours, and, you know, how was she going to express that person who she was becoming on the inside? And that's what's, you know, really fascinating about this work, because you can use the same tools over and over again, but what the person does with it is what makes it so personal. And that's what, you know, that's what I love.
So for those people who are listening right now and who have been inspired and motivated by this conversation and are thinking, okay, then I'm going to do something right now, what's the first thing they need to do?
The first thing they need to do is become curious in their own wardrobe and go there first, because it's free to shop there. Treat it as a shopping trip in your own wardrobe and look at, I really love this piece. Why? I really don't like this piece. Why? That is the first place I would start to get clues. It could be colors. It could be the neckline. It could be the print. It could be the fabric. It could be there's so many technical elements to a piece of clothing, which is what I help people to look at. It's quite a technical when you start to break a piece of clothing down. But that's the first thing. Become curious in your own wardrobe about what you love and wear and what you don't like, and that start to really listen to that is the first step.
And then after you've done that, come and tell us what you found.
And then they come and work with me to find out the technical skills.
So that is a great segue for me to say to you, Lucy, how can people connect with you?
Well, they can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I've also got a website, and I have a free discovery call if people want to have a chat with me. So, if they want to get in touch with me, then we can set that up. Yeah. Can I put a link in the comments, or can I not do that?
Yes, of course you can. It's a free world.
Yeah. I can put a link to the.
You can do it later.
If I remember. I'll do it later. Okay, could do it later. All right. I'll do it later. Yeah, so if people want to book a call and just have a chat about this part of their life with me, then, because I think it is, when you have your own business, there's so many things to think about, aren't there? If we can get this part working, so this is not such a big deal, then I think that is a good thing.
And for those of you who might be fed up and frustrated with not getting the results that you want in life, once you've finished having your wardrobe sorted by Lucy, of course, I'm running a workshop tomorrow, being the 20th of May. It's live. It's at 12 o'clock. It's only 60 minutes and it's just £20. And it's about moving you from doubting yourself to being decisive and showing you how just small changes in your mindset can help you to unlock big results. And I will, similar to Lucy, I'll put the links in the comments. So we have come to the end of our time together. I'd like to say thank you, Lucy, for joining me today.
Thank you very much. It was great.
You're welcome. And thank you, everybody, for joining us live. And I'm going to say thank you for those of you who are going to watch this on replay. And we shall see you next month.